Now I've got another story of another gentleman. He was also a Muslim convert, and then he left Islam. And I've got Kareem Mohsin with me. Hello, Kareem.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I am very good. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. I know you've been sitting there for quite some time, and it's my standard stream, and I spend about an hour talking about my news stories, and then I start taking calls on everyone who comes in first. And I know this week I had 3 people I had given the link to that I would speak to. So welcome to the show. I would like to speak about your journey as well. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, you have a very halal name, Kareem Mohsin.
Well, it's an Arabic name because my father is from Iraq originally.
Right.
My mom is from the west of Ireland, so that's my background.
Right.
I was born in Ireland. I've been here most of my life. I should clarify, I'm not a convert. I was raised in family.
Right. I just realized that now when you said that your father was Iraqi. So by default, you are a Muslim. If you have one Muslim parent.
Never had to revert, as they say.
Right.
I renounced Islam at the age of, let's say, 19 or 20. Long story short, I think it's because I chose to go to university. That was a big eye-opener for me. Not least because I chose to study genetics. So I was forced to reckon with evolution. And I went through that process of watering down God, to reconcile him with nature until eventually he just evaporated altogether. That, and also just, how you're raised to think that you need Islam to be a good person, that atheists or non-believers are just inherently despicable people. That was shattered in college as well, because I met any number of wonderful people who were not religious in the slightest. So when those two things fell away, by default, I wasn't a Muslim anymore.
Right.
Since then, I've been able to meet up with other like-minded people. In 2016, I met with 2 other ex-Muslims in Dublin, and we set up this organization, the Alliance of Former Muslims, here in Ireland. And our numbers have grown considerably, I'm delighted to say. But we can get into that in good time, I'm sure.
So so this ex-Muslim movement, how is it doing in Ireland? Because Ireland is a country that has enjoyed a decent amount of immigration in recent years, probably last couple of decades or something. So I'm assuming there would be a lot of Muslim immigrants as well. So how is the Muslim youth, in your opinion, responding there? As we are seeing in the rest of the Western countries, Muslim youth are fast becoming ex-Muslims. You're probably one of them.
So just to give a broader picture, I suppose, the population of Ireland is 5 million. There's only about 63,000 Muslims in the country. So it's still, a relatively small proportion compared to somewhere like the UK. But I think there is a growing wave of apostasy because I'm encountering new ex-Muslims all the time. And I'll just give you, I suppose, some detail on what we do and what we've discovered through this organization. So what we essentially are is a support network for ex-Muslims in Ireland. Though we do offer what limited support we can to those living abroad. And we do sometimes get messages from people asking.
You can share your screen if you want me to show something like your YouTube channel and
sure.
And your website and your more information about your organization.
We are an affiliate of Atheist Alliance International, which is a global confederation of secular groups. And our primary purpose is to create a sense of community among ex-Muslims in Ireland. And I really think that sense of community is the most important thing. Because at the end of the day, as you know, Sharia doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter why we leave Islam, whether we're atheists, Christians, whatever. Ultimately, we're all on the same chopping block for apostasy. We are an incredibly vulnerable minority. And I don't think we have the luxury of picking which apostates to ally with. Not if we want to defeat this ideology. So that's the primary purpose of our group, is to create this sense of community, and we nurture that through conversations on WhatsApp, through organizing demonstrations, supporting one another during the asylum process, which can be quite arduous. there's another purpose as well, which is to raise awareness of Islam among the Irish public. We want them to know about the supremacism that is the beating heart of Islam, and to be able to recognize it in practice. That is a brief overview of ourselves. In terms of the Muslim community, as you asked, we have had some pushback, some threats here and there, but it's been quite modest, I think, compared to other countries, I have to say. And, I'm not going to say we regret that. It's nice to not have threats all the time.
Yeah. Well, as you said, I mean, the Muslim population is very small, but I think it's also very important and is incumbent on us critics of Islam to make sure that in this world of polarization, where if you criticize Islam, then we know that a lot of people are going to end up anti-Muslim bigots. And most of us, as we know, that our families are Muslim, so that's the last thing we want for Muslims as people. But at the same time, we also need to make Muslims realize that their ideology that they hold so close to their heart is we don't even put it on our shoes.
Yeah.
So that is something that, again, as responsible critics of Islam, we need to make sure that we keep that balance, because either way, it could go either way. I mean, we see the radical fundamentalist Islamists want to hurt us, and then on the other hand, there are anti-Muslim bigots who want to hurt them, and we just have to pick the line. And I hope, and I'm sure you're doing that, because obviously Atheist Alliance International is.
But it'd be hard to straddle, because, as you say, you don't want to fan the flames of anti-Muslim bigotry, but at the same time, if we don't speak out, then we know the right wing are the only ones who are going to.
Exactly. So, that's something that Muslims need to understand more than we need to propagate this view, because if the only person who's criticizing or attacking Islam are the right-wingers, and they're building their audience and they're bringing their fan base, then that's going to be worse news for them.
Yes.
Because with our it's okay, we're gaining some traction, we're gaining some momentum, but we're the only ones now, even though we are cast aside by the left, but left would eventually realize that, okay, these guys are making sense, and they will stand with us eventually.
We found ourselves having to call out ethno-nationalism here in Ireland, because as Islam is coming to the fore in this country, some fringe elements are coming out of the woodwork on the right, and we've had to denounce it, because often we're just lumped in with them, because that's what the left does. If they're not calling us Uncle Toms, they're accusing us of racism or giving a platform to the right or whatever else. And I don't think we should stand for that.
You are as white as an Irishman, so I mean, you would be called probably, I don't know, white supremacist or something.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone could. Do people pick up any Iraqi in you or not?
I have an older brother who looks a lot more Arab than me.
Right.
He has brown eyes and darker skin. So I have my mother's eyes and her complexion. So no, it's not actually that common. People are often surprised when I tell them about my background. But
you're right, and you have one of the most easiest on the ear Irish accent as well.
I'm glad to hear it.
My partner's late mother, she was Irish, and she was Australianized a lot. So she lived, I think, last 40 years of her life in Australia, but she still had Irish accent. But some of the other Irish people that I met, especially when two Irishmen are talking to themselves, you can't understand what they're saying.
There can be a very thick Dublin accent. That can be hard to understand. But well, thank you.
Yours is very smooth. Yours very globalized international accent. So that's nice.
Weirdly, I've been accused of being Canadian at times. I don't know why. I say accused deliberately.
No, I don't know. I think I could pick up after listening to a couple of sentences from you that it's Irish, but maybe I can, because I know some Irish people. But so I just want to ask. So thank you very much for telling us about your work, and yeah, do share your YouTube channel. Just if you share your screen, there's a button there, share screen. Then I could actually share that on the screen as well. It's right at the bottom underneath all these photos. So tell me. So your father is Iraqi. He is still a Muslim. How did he take your apostasy?
I think my father. Okay, so he when he was my age, he was a very bold boy. He was in the Iraqi Communist Party.
All right.
And that's actually why he had to flee the country, because we know Saddam was a communist.
Yeah. Wow.
But he's one of those people who, even though he's not much of a believer himself, still values the culture of it, the tradition of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was raised in a Muslim family in that sense, I guess in a wishful thinking sort of sense, you know? But yeah, I did go through a phase of real proper belief in my late teens.
We all do.
Yeah,
we all do at some point, but it doesn't last long.
And actually, to such a point that I think I was beginning to scare my dad, because I was trying to forbid my family from watching the National Geographic Channel because
of the indigenous people's topless videos.
Well, that, but also just the Darwinist propaganda, you know.
Oh, right. See, this is what actually happened with Abdullah Sami's mother, who's still a Muslim, but he started scaring her because he was telling her, you know, Mom, don't get mortgage. This is haram. Interest is haram. So she was like, all right, I am a Muslim. I love Islam.
Yeah.
Don't love it too much.
yeah. I don't. That's. I guess it's more common than we realize. But
yeah.
No.
You know, very quickly. Sorry, it actually kind of happened to me as well. Not to an extent where my family got scared or I was, but my family definitely noticed me at the age of 15, 16, when I became a really hardcore Muslim. I mean, hardcore in a sense, not jihadi type, but hardcore is like I'm praying 5 times a day, I'm fasting, I'm wearing my trousers above my ankles, and you know, like all that kind of crap I was doing. But my family was like, oh, okay, all right, good on you, son. But you know, but they were busy watching the Bollywood movies.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Hey, you know, we all have our own journey out of Islam. And there's no point, you know, dwelling on our embarrassing behaviors of the past. You know,
I don't think they're embarrassing. I think that because you know, a lot of people might be going through the same behavior right now as we speak, and this is the reason I think for the success of ex-Muslim movement, that a religion that claimed to be the fastest growing religion now its clerics are coming out and they are admitting that, you know, our youth is leaving Islam. And I've always said these things can happen quite aggressively within a generation or maximum 2. If 20% of youth, today's youth, and by youth I mean under 30-year-old who haven't had kids of their own, if 20% of them leave Islam today, then it would mean 40% would leave in the next generation, and then third generation by the late part of by 2060, 2070, Islam would be toothless. It already would be toothless in the process. So, you know, like obviously older people are going to die out. I've been criticized for using the term, but there is nothing we can do other than waiting for them to die out. I'm not saying kill them. I'm saying, but we all die out eventually. And that's one of the reasons of the older ideas to be replaced by better and newer ideas, is that older people with older ideas die out.
That video you showed earlier was very powerful. I think there is tremendous cause for optimism. A big part of it, I think, has been social media. You know, these days, you look at a video on Islam on YouTube, and then in the sidebar, there's videos from ex-Muslims refuting that, and it's a wonderful thing to see.
He said that. Yeah, he said that we are paying Google. You know, most of our videos.
It's a dirty game, like as if they don't have money, as if they're not paying Google.
I don't even think we are actually paying that much. But on my video, Apostate Prophet's video, Abdullah Sami's video, and so many of our videos, the first ad they see is by this Muslim apologist. That Islam is suffering. That one.
I've often seen ads for like Hajj holiday packages on ex-Muslim videos.
It's but I think it's YouTube's algorithm that it actually, because they're also trying to break the echo chamber. So I think they're also trying to give different opinions on an existing opinion. So I think that's why they try to do it. But I guess that's just how it is. I'll just take this question by George Orwell. He's asking, why exactly do they wear those funky trousers anyway? Please enlighten me. Well, that's just a sunnah. Apparently, what Muhammad used to wear, that jora, it used to be above his ankles. So that's why us Desi Muslims I'm not talking about you. You're obviously you're half Irish anyway, but I'm talking about us Desi Muslims of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. We wear shalwar kameezes there. Those are funky trousers. They're different from the Arab jora, whatever they call it. So to replicate that, that dress, the Arab dress, is already above your ankles because it's just the way it is. So we are wearing trousers, and we just raise them up. And you might have seen Zakir Naik wearing like that. Here, now it's in fashion, right? We wear anklets. we wear anklets now in our trousers and our tracky dacks. They're above our ankles.
Like, so there were practical reasons for these things, which what makes it so cringe when I see Muslims in the West, especially in Ireland where it rains all the time and it's never warm, wearing the full ihram garb because I think this is what it is. I'm like, you are, like I feel embarrassed for you.
But the good thing is, like as I said, well, some Muslims might say, see, now these modern people are wearing our clothes that our Prophet Muhammad introduced so many years ago. But this looks better because it's tight around your ankle. But their trousers are really, as you said, Kareem, that in winter that can be really bad. You get sweat, and I don't, you wouldn't want to wear it in winter.
Yeah. I hope he's satisfied with that answer. I mean,
I don't know much, but it's just stupid. It's just one of those things where Islam has sold this idea of cult of personality. I reckon it's the first cult of personality. Yeah, kings have done it, but kings usually, when they died, their cult died with them. But in Islam, Muhammad's cult has survived for 1400 years, like no other prophets did. I don't think Jews worship Moses the way Muslims worship Muhammad. Or
there's a tremendous irony, I suppose, in Muslims go on about how they despise idolism and shirk and all this stuff, but they idolize Muhammad. They basically worship the Quran. It's bibliolatry, if you will. They have their own idols. So this is something they just don't realize, I suppose. And that's that's a big part of our goals, is this kind of consciousness raising, I think. But I'm just going to, if I may share just some interesting facts on what's happening in Ireland. Sure. So the biggest mosque in this country, the Clonskee Mosque, is just a front for the Muslim Brotherhood.
Right.
This is something which is not widely known, but is very easy to discover. The Imam of that mosque, Hussein Halawa, when the Muslim Brotherhood was overthrown in Egypt back in 2013, he gave a very blistering speech calling upon Muslims everywhere to do what they can to restore the Brotherhood to power. And he wasn't even careful about it. He was using pronouns like we and us and we must do this, and basically openly admitting to his involvement in the Brotherhood. And the spokesperson for that mosque, Ali Salim, has said that when there is a Muslim majority in Ireland, Sharia should be the norm. He's gone on record saying that. Again, this is not some isolated extremist mosque. This is the biggest mosque in the country that's coming out with this stuff. There's another fact. In 2013, Ireland was the biggest contributor of ISIS fighters per capita in all of Europe. You know that?
Yeah. I think I did. Oh, I thought it was UK, but yeah, sure.
Yeah. This was a study done by King's College London in Belfast.
Right.
Yeah. People are being radicalized here and then sent to die in Syria because
Ireland. I mean, it was such a small Muslim population, so they had the biggest contributors to
in all of Europe per capita in 2013.
Oh, per capita. Okay, not in real numbers. Okay, all right, fair enough.
Also, the London Bridge attacks in 2017, originally meant for Dublin. That's something that's now been revealed.
Dublin?
Our Gardaí, our police have shared that with the media now. They originally wanted to attack Dublin. They'd drawn up blueprints and everything.
I mean, Ireland hasn't even done anything to, like Ireland is not even in the debate or conversation about Islam or Muslims anyway.
We don't need a reason. They don't need a reason.
I know we don't need a reason, but again, somehow they try to rationalize and say, oh, look, France is doing this and this and this, so therefore, not that that's justified, but I'm saying in their mind, maybe it might make sense. But again, what is Ireland doing? It's like doing that to New Zealand.
They did argue during the Iraq War that because U.S. warplanes were allowed to refuel at an airport, we were complicit in the war. So they might try to drag that up again. But we know that their grievances have nothing to do with innocent Muslims being killed. Like, who are the biggest victims of ISIS? Muslims.
Yeah.
What they care about is that their imperialist project is dying. That's what they care about. That's what angers them. Another fact, we have Muslim primary schools in Ireland, including the one I went to, which teach children not to take Christians or Jews as their friends, which tell kids that if they neglect their prayers, then Satan will pour boiling water over their heads. These are faith schools that teach the national curriculum but have free reign when it comes to religion. The state just turns a complete blind eye in the name of multiculturalism. We have charities as well, like Human Appeal, who have been found to support Hamas and other jihadist groups. So all of this stuff is happening right under our noses. The media isn't talking about it. The government isn't talking about it. And we all know why. It's because they're more concerned with not appearing Islamophobic than protecting Irish citizens. And I think part of our mission is to smash that whole climate of intellectual fascism, if you will.
All right.
And I'm going to try and share the website with the share screen function. Never done this before. Bear with me.
Yeah, that's okay. Just press the share screen button. It's right at the end, and yeah, I'm sure you'll get it. You'll get it.
Okay. Feel free to ask me any questions about Ireland or Islam or whatever.
Yeah, look, I think that's all I'm getting in my head right now. But it's quite heartening to see that a lot of ex-Muslim movements are happening simultaneously, all by volunteers, simultaneously all over the world, and a beast as big as Islam is being tackled in kind. And I think that is quite something, all, as you said earlier, thanks to social media. I don't think we could have imagined this. I mean, I became an atheist in 2007 or 8. Yeah. And I didn't even talk to anyone about it because, I was one of those people who didn't have to. It wasn't just about, my life was pretty easygoing anyway. But even having said that, at that point, I didn't know. I thought I was the only one. It's probably best to keep my mouth shut until I saw Mariam Namazi. But even then, I thought Council of Ex-Muslims of Britain. But I think at that point, I looked. She only had a few hundred followers. I was like, yeah, all right, she'll be dead soon.
Yeah.
But no. Look at where we are. I mean, I am so excited. I mean, I want to pause and enjoy every second of my life. But I am so excited to see how the world would be in 2030. I think that would be one hell of a world.
The past few years have been exponential in terms of ex-Muslim growth, and there's no reason to think that's going to stop as access to the internet and social media becomes all the more widespread. But we do have a fight on our hands, including in Ireland, because our government wants to introduce new so-called hate speech laws, which will actually criminalize any speech that is perceived to be hateful, which obviously doesn't help ex-Muslims. It only serves to empower those who oppress us, actually. It's funny that hate speech laws can be brought in supposedly to protect minorities, but ex-Muslims are the most vulnerable minority out there, and we're not calling for these laws, because we know what they lead to. In Pakistan, we see like people in Pakistan who criticize Islam or who leave Islam. They're hunted down and they're killed by these lynch mobs because of hate speech against Muhammad. That's what these kind of laws do. They legitimize the most vicious elements of our society, and we have to stand against that.
So, do you have a YouTube channel that we can have a look at?
Now, there's only 2 videos, but the most recent video of ours, it's a pretty lengthy video on the situation in Ireland. So I'll just get the link.
Just open and bring it up on your screen. I think that would be just as good if we can just see your channel. While you're bringing that up, I have a question from George Orwell. George, thank you very much for all your super chats. Keep them coming, guys. But no, George, no more from you. I don't want you to, just get a bill shock at the end or a statement shock. So he did ask a question for you, Kareem. How did the Maulvis explain sun setting super late in summers and namaz timings in Ireland, and probably fasting times? How do they go? I think in Ireland, Northern Ireland might be a bit of a trouble, but actually, yeah, I don't know how long. I mean, some of the fasts would like the summer fasting, summer Ramadan would be pretty bad, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm not quite sure what he means by the first part of the question, but just in terms of Ramadan in Ireland, it can be pretty rough. Yeah. It's always strange when I hear Muslims say, like, oh, well, the first time I did Ramadan, it was difficult, but then, I got used to it every year. I never got used to it. It was always difficult. It always sucked.
Especially the water part.
It's not healthy to deprive yourself of food and water for that amount of time.
Food is fine. Food, I think some people do intermittent fasting, but water, no, not really. But again, it's so unfair that people in the far northern hemisphere, and I think that's what he referred. That's what he meant. That you. I think it was the northernmost tip in Norway or something. I mean, sun doesn't set until it doesn't set at all for 3 months. So people are fasting for 3 months. so Allah obviously didn't know about North Pole.
There are times when it's still bright at 11 p.m. So I'm very glad to not have to do that ever again. It's interesting. Sometimes I hear some ex-Muslims say that, oh, they do miss 1 or 2 things from when they were Muslim. I really can't think of anything I miss, to be honest. Like maybe I miss getting a bag of Bombay mix from the halal shop or something. Like,
which you can still get it.
That's about it. I mean,
right. And what are the Irish Muslims' views on Northern Ireland?
Ooh,
if they have a view.
Okay, we could be here all day, but I'll just offer this. There are a lot of well-meaning people in the Republic who they kind of project their decency, their support for Irish independence onto Hamas and other jihadist groups in Palestine, because they like to think it's the exact same struggle, when we both know that Hamas are Islamic imperialists. They are anti-Semitic murderers who want to drive the Jews into the sea. They don't just want a Palestinian state; they want a new caliphate in that region. Basically, they want to impose Sharia. So, unfortunately, there are a lot of Irish people who are just hoodwinked by Hamas, and we gotta see through that. We need to stop projecting our own decency onto these monsters. Basically, is what I'm saying.
Right. All right, so I got your screen now.
Cool.
That's your Alliance of Former Muslims. That's your YouTube channel.
Yes, it is. Because I'm signed into my own account in the Dangerfield and Red Letter Media. But this is the video. It's a lengthy documentary, I guess you could say, on the jihadist threat to Ireland. There's so much going on here that people don't know about. And I hope people enjoy it and find it insightful.
Yeah, right. Absolutely, guys. So if you are there, do check out this channel and do subscribe it. I I think obviously Kareem is doing amazing work, and he definitely deserves more attention and your support. Please do share and subscribe it. Well,
most of our members are actually from Pakistan.
Yeah, well, Pakistan is a very funny country. I mean, as I said earlier, that people who tend to be more religious tend to become ex-Muslims as well. So, when they think that they're wasting away their lives, it's usually the moderate ones who don't care, because either staying or leaving Islam is no difference to them. So they may as well stay within Islam because their lives are not hurt by it or affected by it. But Pakistan is one of the big ones. Yes. I reckon if we can turn Pakistan, the numbers were good in 2012. Study from 2005 to 2012, the number jumped from 1% to 2%. I know, very small, still 40 million people. Yeah. But if we can get it into 10% or 12%, that's when things are going to get really interesting.
I mean, Pakistan, it's such an opportunity, really. I often see videos by ex-Muslims with just incredible viewership numbers, and I have to think that a lot of that is from Pakistan. Population of several hundred million.
230 million. Yeah.
I mean,
if you got 5 million, they got 230 million.
Market to use that crude term, but.
It is a big market, and even though India is far bigger market, so even though my channel gets a lot of I think 50% or 40% views from India, and then 25% views from Pakistan, but that is still in hundreds of thousands, because I'm getting something like 2.5-3 million views a month on my Urdu channel. So that's if it's in hundreds of thousands of people, thousands of people might be getting affected by it. Yes. So, and I'm gaining new audience all the time. So, I plan to keep on doing this for another, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years until I get tired or bored of it.
Or killed.
Or killed. Yeah. That's likely a possibility. So, So I think this is, as I said, this is going to be very interesting in 10 years' time. But
I always point to Pakistan as an example of the real Islam, because whenever these moderates in the West, whenever they present their sugar-coated version of Islam, what I do is I point to these mass protests calling for someone like Asia Bibi to be hanged in Pakistan. These aren't fringe ideas at the end of the day. Yeah. I mean, as your previous guest said, the likes of ISIS, they're merely emulating what Muhammad did. They're continuing 1,400 years of Islamic imperialism. Muhammad himself said, "I've been made victorious through terror." You know, can't get away from that.
Drive Jews and Christians out of the Arabian Peninsula.
Yeah.
They're going to put the Jew in the narrowest part of the street and make them wear
to like all of these tribes who rejected his prophecy. He added them, and that's it. I mean, like, when you have a religion that prevents people from leaving, who kills those who do leave, how can you say it's a religion of peace? How, when you silence any criticism of that religion with violence, how it is doomed to turn into terrorism and tyranny? There can be no reform. That's why it stayed the same way for 1,400 years.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. I hope I'll put an excerpt of this video, and I hope some people subscribe to your channel, and really welcome and appreciate your support. What you're doing, please keep doing it for another few years and stay alive.
Yeah, we'll try. And best of luck to yourself as well. And keep up the awesome work.
Thank you, Kareem.
All right.
All right, that was Kareem, an Irish ex-Muslim, and doing some work. Guys, please do check out his channel and do support him. Some of the smaller countries where they also need our support, because this is a multifaceted battle of ideas. It's going all across the world. Islam goes everywhere. So maybe no need. There might not be any ex-Muslims of Colombia or Brazil, because I don't think there might be that many Muslims in South America, because those countries are not that economically rich. That's why Muslims never migrated there. But economically rich countries like Europeans and North America and obviously Australia and New Zealand, all of these countries or parts of the world have ex-Muslim networks, some sort of support groups. So please, it's important that we talk about them and support them as well. To help me produce more videos like these, support me on Patreon or PayPal.